everyone, and welcome to the STPL. My name is Kix. Joining me is Rapid, and we're here once again for some more STPL action.
That's right, Kix. It's time to once again answer the age-old question: is it possible to have a game that goes beyond 6 minutes long? I don't know.
I don't know.
I was joking about having paid off all of the players to only play 6-minute games. Yesterday was, we did have a couple of games that were long, like 15 minutes or something. So
yeah,
don't get your hopes up. But it might be another fast night tonight. But man, sometimes we've had like 6-hour STPL broadcasts before. Sometimes it actually does go very long. So who knows?
Yeah, sometimes it actually goes longer than it probably should do and probably is able to, but either way, it's not too much of a big deal. We just want to see some good games regardless, and you can have some good 6-minute games. I mean, it doesn't seem normal, but it is possible. You can have some exciting 6-minute games. I mean, look at CVZ. So, I mean, without further ado, let's get ourselves into this week's maps. As I say, I was fully ready. There's one other thing I need to change because I completely forgot. We've changed on to week 4 now. So, wait, is it week 4? No, it's week 3. Is it?
Yes, week 3.
Yeah,
wait,
week
no.
3.
Well, I mean, okay. I don't know where you're at in your life, right? Because theoretically, the world only has 24 hours in the day, and it's Tuesday here, which means it can't possibly be Sunday anywhere else. Plus, unless you're in one of those weird calendar countries, Sunday is actually the first day of the month. So that was actually, quite a ways ago. So Monday is the first day of your week, like it is in, I think, a lot of Latin American countries. Then sick, you're killing it, but not so some other places in the world.
Yeah, well, it should be fine nonetheless, but you can see we're starting with set 1 on Fortress SE, set 2 is going to be on Neo Chain Reaction, the first time we're going to see both these maps in the SCPL. Set 3 is going to be on the Mancha, set 4 on Neo Medusa, and the ace match, if we get there, will be on Holy World SE.
Okay, so we're mixing it up just a little bit. I mean, I think you should just have new maps every week, or maybe every game. You're just never allowed to play on the same map twice. You have a map pool that is all the maps, and once you use them, they can never be played again. I wonder how long it would take to get through all the maps, Kix.
I don't know, there's quite a lot of maps, and a lot of them are not very good, and apparently there's...
You spend your time just desperately trying to make new maps faster than pros play on them, just so that there's always a map to play on.
That would be a really interesting way of doing it. But speaking of our pros here, well, pros here in the STPL, they're more like semi-pros, we're going to be having a look at our first team, starting us off with NaS. Reinforcements with his reinforcements, but he's losing his main, he's losing his natural as well, he's lost his third base. And I mean, the only thing going for him right now is he's taking the other main, but that's not going to be enough. GG! That's on the probes as well. Oh,
yeah,
that's enough storm! That storm got all 4 lurkers. But yeah, I mean, there's Lings running into his main. GG! As the on-Turk Spire has finished up. I'm completely losing my voice, I'm completely out of practice. But there we go, looks like Eon-Zerg has done it. GG! Kamizerg trying to hold on. It's not going to be enough. But still, very, very valiant effort from him. Really, really nicely done. And GG. Well, I usually don't like being too negative about things, but this game is definitely over. He's going to move in with his lurkers. The lurkers are going down before they even get a chance to burrow. And he's losing all of his units. GG!
It's showtime!
Okay, so here we are, guys. That was NaS's intro. Now, NaS are a very, very good team. Now, according to this, they lost against White Clan 3-4 last. I mean, they did play against them. Oh, okay, I know what happened. They played against them in the round 3 playoffs. My mind is completely going off it here, but I added the scores to that later. But basically, they're sitting pretty on their current ranking in Group A, so this is technically the first game they're going to play just because we are we were missing one of the replays from the previous win. No, it wasn't. My bad. It was the day of casting I missed. So that was their first game. That would have been week 2. This is week 3, of course. So this is technically going to be their debut game in round 4 even. I'm a little bit behind on myself, but they're a relatively good team.
How could you, Kix? You had one job.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, we might be a little bit off, but eventually we will actually stabilize here. And in theory, this is the last round of the STPL. So at the end of this, everything will just end. So at the very least, we'll be caught up by that time. So yeah, let's see. I guess it's gonna be cool to watch NaS play again. NaS is a little bit like IRK to me. It's like that team that like has very high highs, but also like not always totally consistent to get there. I mean, if you look at their scores, it's actually very, very good. 3-1 versus White Clan, and at the end there, and a lot of their losses are not just total stomps. I mean, they lost 3-4 to White Clan back in that round 2.
No, that the 3-4 was in the round 3 playoffs. So
that's right. That's the round 3 playoffs, and then the 3-1 loss was in round 2. Yeah. Oh no, it was in the earlier part of round 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I got it. Sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, my point is that when they do lose, it's not like a total loss, and when they win, sometimes it can be actually very dominant. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch their double quotes debut.
Yeah, let's get into our second team here, which is going to be aSh.
Take the inevitable win.
Yeah, no, I genuinely was surprised that after a failed 2-fact opening, he actually managed to pull this off, but he did a great job. And showing he's got very strong TVC, his TVP very strong last time as well. He didn't really take down the ball. It looks like GG, you know, Faust is mining behind the minerals, he just wants some money. But we got 5, whoa, that's like 8 zealots now, and that's gonna be too much. GG.
Got everything. So we're gonna see a lot of Stacies, and here we go. Running
this is a good engagement here for Alex.
And yeah, where are these Stasis coming through? He's got to hit that big clump of tanks at the bottom. He's running the Arbiters in, but he's not Stasising. Okay, there's one. Needs maybe another one. The Zealot count is actually running out pretty quickly. Another scan because he did Stasis the Science Vessel, but GG timing. There's still about 49 supply. Hit him up, doubling his opponent with very high upgraded mech, and that's going to do it. GG taps out. Wow. Hit him up, and aSh take out Media.
It's showtime.
Okay, so that was aSh's intro. Now, aSh, they're a team that have historically struggled in the STPL up until now. I mean, at the beginning of round 1, they actually took down, the beginning of round 4. Oh man, we've been going at this so long, I've completely forgotten how to count to 4, which is a little bit worrying. But they actually beat Bull Team 4-0, giving them a very, very strong start here to round 4. They actually finished round 3 with a 3-2 win over Media as well. And I mean, other than that, they kind of had some losses against some very, very good teams in their group. They lost to Valhalla, White Clan, FBW, NaS, and Soul Gaming as well. So, and Net Wars as well. So, it's not like they're not the best team. They've got a decent roster. It's just they haven't really, until this point, had a stable roster. And they've actually recently just picked up someone new in Radley. So, that should help them out quite a bit.
Yeah, I can never keep track of who is on which team. So Radley being here, I'm like, okay, all right, finally I can lock that down. It might look a little bit convicting to see just like so many losses on the screen. I think it's 2 wins and what is that, 8 losses.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of their losses are, I want to call them developmental losses. They did beat Media and Bull, so you can say, okay, well, maybe they've got momentum now, but I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll find out when they get into the game. Playing aSh or playing NaS should actually give them kind of a good sort of litmus test about where they stand.
Yeah, I mean, having a look at just the way this looks in the matchup, I mean, when you look at their history, aSh has played against NaS twice. They did lose both of their head-to-heads previously, so they're coming into this a little bit of a psychological deficit, I would say. And total wins overall, I mean, aSh has technically only won 2 of their series in the STPL so far, which doesn't look too good, but they have definitely had a few problems, especially round 1 and 2. They had a lot of like inactivity problems, which gave a lot of walkovers. In round 3, they managed to get a little bit more of a stable roster, but the problem is they got put in the strongest group we've had so far. So they were up against it a little bit. They had pretty decent scores against all the teams. They didn't really get 4-0'd. They always sort of managed to take a win here and there. But round 4, they've definitely started a little bit better. And just have a look at who we're going to be seeing playing today. There's actually going to be the option of, I'm going to change this a little bit, but I'm going to let you pick a key match, and then I'm going to pick my key match as well. We're going to start with a PvP between Batorsai and Dreamer on Fortress SE, a PvT between Seriosity and Logan on Neo Chain Reaction, a ZVP between Eon Zerg and Jax on La Mancha, and a ZVP between Dragon and Dentag on Neo Medusa.
Man, ZVP on La Mancha, like, I mean, I know Eon Zerg doesn't need any help, but like, whew, I would maybe pick that one, but just because of the star power, you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
I think Dragon and Dentag are both kind of big names for their team, but
captains again,
like,
man. Captains always face enough.
That's why I think like maybe the fourth one. I don't know. Any game that Seriosity plays is another opportunity to find out what tier of player he is. So I just can't pass up those opportunities here, Kick.
Yeah, I'm gonna make them both of the like key matches because I really want to see Serio versus Logan. Just because I think out of all of the matches here, Eon Zerg versus Jax, I'm not too sure about. But Seriosity and Logan, I think that's going to be the most evenly matched. Now, Batorsai and Dreamer, I'd say that's pretty evenly matched as well, but it's a PvP, so I can't really mark that as my key match just because of my my bias here. And Dragon and Dentag, I think, maybe a little bit one-sided. So hopefully we'll still see a good game there. Obviously, we're going to be starting with our PvP, so all is not lost. But just have a look at our first player here. Speaking of Batorsai, Batorsai is done pretty well for his team. He's got a 40% win ratio. He's only actually played against one Protoss. It was Dentag in one of the times they faced off against each other. So he has got the win over aSh's Protoss before. Now if he's going to get another win here, this is going to be where it's going to be decided, because his opponent is going to be Dreamer. And Dreamer, I mean, he's a relatively newer player for aSh. He's not done great, much like the rest of aSh, but he's here again in round 4. He's looking to do a little bit better. I mean, when you look at the players he lost against TT1, U2, and Nyoken, and he did lose against Jax, and I think he beat him again. There's something on my overlay at the moment where it's only listing one game between each player, but still, I mean, he's been against some really, really strong players. Losing to TT1 and U2 in a PvP isn't really anything to shake a stick at, even.
I'm kind of looking at the overlay with the same kind of question marks as everybody in chat. I was like trying to figure out, wait, how can he win versus this? Okay, anyway, but we got to the bottom of it. Also, yeah, I would like to say that you just look at the names on that list, and you know, while it might suck to lose to an emoji, you know, sometimes your emoji game's on point, as is the case for White Clan. They even have a literal emoji as their logo, skull and crossbones emoji. So I'll figure out what that is in chat, and then we can spam that one to support White Clan when they play. But yeah, losing to TT1 and Nyoken, I mean, who hasn't lost to TT1 and Nyoken, right?
Yeah.
I've even lost to TT1 and Nyoken, so I think it's unfair to hold this against Dreamer. So I guess we'll have to actually just get into the game and find out.
Yeah, this is going to be his revenge match as we head on to our first map here. Going to be its debut in the STPL round 4. It's Fortress SE. I mean, one of the things you can see there is this is an incredibly droppable map. There is so much area behind every single spawn. Now we're actually going to have vertical position, so there's going to be no real position advantage, but when you just look at the main, I mean, you can look down here, just look at the amount of area that you can move a shuttle into, and also at this natural as well. I think if in a PvP we're going to see anything, it's going to be a lot of shuttle drops.
Yeah, I think this is a great map to go drop on. It's a little bit like the newer map Blockchain, but without the actual way to get between the bases.
Yeah.
So it does have those mineral walking paths to get to the corners, which I think are kind of unique to have a semi-island base there where you don't have to get a shuttle to take that base. And so it does actually make it a lot easier to get a third base if you want to try to go there. The only problem is that, unless you're Zerg trying to get there, it's going to take you a while to get up to 3 bases, and by then your opponent might have drops, so it's not just a guaranteed easy third base to take.
It's one of those bases that works really well on this map just due to the fact drops are so powerful anyway. I don't think you'd really see a base like this on any other map. I don't think there has been. The next map, as far as I'm aware, that used these installation gates was actually Third World, and that was 8 years after. So, I mean, the big thing to note about those is you cannot get ground units there at all. There is no way to break the installation gates. So
you cannot glitch through them either, as Jadong showed us all by trying to do that for about 10 minutes and failing everything, losing the game and getting knocked out of ASL because of it. So don't do that. It's the first time I've ever told anybody to not be Jadong.
Well, I mean, it's going to be cool. If we do see a third base, it's likely going to be either one of those corner bases, or there is sort of like this mini base in the middle of the map. It's a little bit more dangerous to take, especially in a PvP, but it makes it a little bit easier to defend against drops overall, because you kind of put yourself into a little sort of defensive triangle. So I think we're likely to see that, but obviously first we have to beat the 6-minute curse as we get into game number 1 here. It's Dreamer versus however for Batosai on Fortress SE. Now starting us off here in the 6 o'clock position, we do have the blue Protoss fighting for aSh. It's Dreamer.
That's right, and his opponent in the upper part of the map. In the orange, playing Protoss, it's Batosai.
Now, I know we know this very well, Rapid, but PvP in the early game, there's not really too much that goes on, at least for the first few minutes. So just talking about this clan war specifically, this is actually the only mirror match there is today on this, or at least on this match, just double checking. But yeah, so this is our only mirror match of today. There's no mirrors in BT versus Seoul either. Oh, there's a TBT. Okay, didn't notice that. But yeah, so it's the only mirror matchup in this one. It's the only PvP we've got, and unlike on Friday, we're not going to have 6 CVPs in a row. So that's a good thing, because that's kind of the equation we need to sort of get more than 6 minutes.
Well, I mean, you say that, and we're just going to have like 8 racks, like 8 gate games. It's well, we're already beyond that here, so yeah, you are correct. It is going to be a longer game, at least until our players commit to things like 3 gate versus DTs or something along those lines. It is a 2 gate opening on both sides, so neither player trying to get too I don't even want to call it cheesy, but just the idea is that it's going to be an aggressive opening, but not anything that should end the game before 6 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a question for you here, and this is throwing you on the spot a little bit. Can you think of a PvP we've actually seen where they don't go mirror openings? Every PvP
No,
I
it's
seem
super,
to watch,
super common.
it's always mirrored, and I don't know how. There's so many different openings there's 2 different openings you can go for in PvP, so I guess that kind of narrows it down, but whenever you see someone go gas, someone else goes gas as well. We never seem to have 2 gate versus 1 gate, which is odd, but...
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you can absolutely do because it is so mirrored so often is I think proxies are super powerful because of that. But it can be kind of a bad omen to try to break that sacred agreement that Protosses have in the early game. So yeah, usually you just have like you would have 1 gate gas builds every game if 2 gate
exist.
didn't exist. Yeah,
Yeah.
so. I mean, I think I kind of like it this way because it's a nice sort of change from like ZVZ, which is obviously very, very volatile early, and then PvP is sort of nestled in the middle. It's the Goldilocks of the mirror matchups because it
Yeah.
is like a little bit aggressive, but it's not like really, really aggressive. And then TVT is just like, well, no rush 30, something like that. But
Yeah, TVT is probably the one matchup where early aggression can work, but it's so hard to make it work. You have to go so unbelievably far all in to actually be aggressive in TVT.
yeah, you gotta like double
it's,
proxy factory or something.
yeah, or like double BBS or something, but even then, like, it's quite hard to make work. It's to be fair, it's very rare you even see proxies in PvP as well. I mean, the one time I can remember that we saw one, at least in the STPL anyway, like the last time I remember seeing proxies, yeah, in PvP.
Okay.
Because the last time I remember a proper proxy was that weird Grass versus Castle game on Shin Peaks of Bigdu, so... And that was strange. So I think a lot of people just kind of want to play a little bit safer, especially because they know they need to win the game for their team overall. So I guess that could be the reason behind it. The probe goes down on Batosai's side though, which is a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah, you should never really lose your probe until Dragoons come out. If you lose it before then, it's just because you didn't realize the timing. Once you see the gateways, you should know the exact timing that probes come out, or that Dragoons come out. So you should know to get your probe out of there, unless you just desperately want to stay for the last little bit of information. And the real information you should be looking for is the gateway count. And if you can count up to 3, then you can die to DTs. That's all I'm trying to say.
I mean, there's 3 on Batosai's side. Dreamer still hasn't actually made the decision on what he wants to go for at the moment. Now, the problem is, if he does go for like a expansion behind this, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But if he doesn't add some form of tech on here, he's actually going to find himself a little bit further behind. But there we go, the Robo coming up for him. That should give him a pretty good, stable start. He'll be able to get obs if he needs to, but obviously we know that he won't need those for a while.
We know that. I think it's actually kind of fun to see like the contrast between our knowledge and player knowledge. Because let's think about things for a second here. It's a 2-gate push out across the map, and there's a Robo behind it, right? So at this point, what could you be pushing into? You could be pushing into 3-gate, in which case you would really have a bad time, or you could be pushing into 2-gate, and this is 2-gate with, or this is pushing into 3-gate, but it's in theory, the first engage was before the 3rd gateway would have kicked in. Now this engage is when the 3rd gateway is kicked in, and I think this is where you're going to start to see some struggles happen, and I think the realization from Dreamer that perhaps he should have pulled back a little bit sooner.
Yeah, he's going to pull back now. Only loses 1 Dragoon and a couple of Zealots. He does actually...
he lost, I think he lost 2 Dragoons, right? Was I just watching a different fight? Maybe he did only lose 1. I guess 1 is very damaged.
Yeah, I mean, this is still a pretty big deal. He's going to be up against 3 gateways, so the power of this push is going to just continue to get better. And Dream has actually spent 400 minerals on a Nexus, so that's always going to be a big problem in a PvP. Robo support may coming in, though, so that means if he can hold on long enough, we'll be able to see some Reavers here in defense.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely the saving grace here. That's how you make it here, because you're going to have more Dragoons versus less Dragoons. I mean, you should actually not be trying to fight this right now, because 1 Dragoon less is actually a big deal. But he knew that several of them were damaged, so he's actually going to win the match in the end, but he knows he's fighting a gateway down, and so this Reaver is how you equalize that.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of trouble for Dreamer, obviously, but also will have 3 Dragoons coming over at a time. He hasn't managed to save up for a Nexus just yet, so pure pumping. But with 2 Zealots coming out here, this is actually a little bit of a mistake here by Dreamer to go for these. I think he was maybe getting ready for his for his shuttle to come out, but he's going to be taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, fighting with just a Reaver is a little bit dangerous against a critical number of Dragoons, but you are correct. He is going to take a little bit of damage. I think he knows that most of that damage is going to be on the Nexus, so obviously that's not crucial damage, but I don't know about this time to Maynard your probes over. He just like kind of tossed a few of those in for free, and now he might actually even lose the Reaver. Oh my goodness.
That's a huge loss to take. I mean, the
also,
good thing...
he still loses this fight.
Yeah, it's
like
going to be
he has
very
less
difficult.
health on one of the Dragoons, and he microed it, so that's less shot time. So he has a shuttle now, which means maybe you can disjoint the Dragoon shots and micro your way back into it. But like, damn, this is just very rough. And the 3-gate pressure, it's just not going to stop. The worst problem is there's a Nexus up for Dreamer. So Batosai knows he has to get it done.
Yeah, but Batosai is trying to go for his own Nexus as well. This actually knew it, this push a little bit. But there we go, looks like we are going to have a little bit of micro do. The shot actually pulling back for some reason. The probes have been pulled. Dreamer trying to hold on here, actually building another Zealot. Unsure about this decision. But one of the Dragoons for Batosai does go down. But Dreamer, with only 1 Dragoon, he's not microing with the shuttle. And he's going to lose all of his Dragoons again.
And look, there's 3 more on the way. He's got to know this, and this is all because, you lost your Reaver. Now he's got another Reaver, so this is how you make up for that. He's got a shuttle with the Reaver. Wait, does he?
No,
Did he lose the shuttle?
He didn't, but it's completely over the wrong side, so these Dragoons going to jump on top of this second Reaver again. Some good Scarabs going off, but he's just under constant pressure. But this is the moment that at least Dreamer can hold, but he lost his shuttle. The shuttle goes down, the Reavers have both gone down, and he loses his aggressive options here and loses the tech advantage that was really keeping him in the game.
Did he lose the tech advantage? There's still no support bay on the other side. So
Well,
I guess theoretically...
Yeah, theoretically.
You're right, he doesn't have the units that he would build with that tech advantage.
Yeah.
And tech advantage is not going to win you the game by itself.
No.
So a couple of things. Dreamer did lose a lot, but he had a faster Nexus, so in theory, things should, kind of equalize if you want to kind of fudge the numbers a little bit. He also does have that tech, so at the very least, it's going to be even tech, although I guess, at the very least, it's going to be even tech.
Yep.
And he was able to add a 3rd gateway on and 4th gateway on as well in the meantime. So I think Dreamer's actually in a great spot.
Yeah, he's definitely in a better spot than I thought he was, thinking about it logically. It still feels bad for him to lose both those Reavers though, because just imagine if he'd held on with his first Reaver, right now he'd have 2 Reavers and a shuttle going to harass his enemy, or his opponent even, and that's something he doesn't have at the moment, so slowly but surely Batosai is going to be able to macro his way back into this, but he's still behind, of course. I mean, his 3-gate did fail, his expansion was a lot later, and he's actually adding a shield battery onto the front because he's a little bit worried about the counterattack, but he should know that Dreamer doesn't actually have that many units yet.
Alright, well, we've seen a few divergences, but I think this is going to be a little bit of a convergence to say, okay, let's get things back to normal here. We've got an XI, we've got Reavers, we've got everything that we really need. But the big kind of game changer that could really throw things out of whack is this Reaver shuttle heading out across the map. Put one of those in the mineral line, and one player gets really sad.
Yeah, now the only problem is he doesn't have shuttle speed as of yet, so this shuttle isn't going that fast. It's not the quickest shuttle we've ever seen, but it should be able to dive in there. Looks like he's actually going to go just about in range of that pylon, so we do see a lot of Dragoons coming back already, and this could actually be a big mistake by Dreamer. Does he not have
Scarabs?
I don't think so. That was a bit strange, but the Reaver definitely didn't shoot.
Now sometimes Reavers can be really glitchy, but there was a couple clumps of probes there that if he had target fired, Definitely would have been pretty juicy. I don't know. We'll never know what happened to that Reaver, but it
Yeah.
was not the little Reaver that could.
Yeah, no, that poor Reaver, he's going to have to go back home with his head in his hands. Well, they don't really have hands, do they? So I guess he'll curl up in a ball and cry for a little bit. But looks like we're going to have Dreamer in the middle of the map. He actually drops off both of his Reavers. Yeah, he's just started Scarabs on both of them. So I guess that Reaver must have just come out the Robo and he didn't realize he had not hit the Scarab button. But looks like Dreamer's going to go on the offensive here. There's not actually that much here for Batorsai to defend with. He split off a lot of his units to go and defend against drops. Now, could this be a timing that Dreamer can hit to do some damage?
I mean, I guess you are technically correct here. I don't know exactly what the play is.
Oh,
you gotta die on top of these Reavers. Oh, he's gonna snipe the shuttle. That's one step. He's gotta focus the Reavers. He's not actually focusing this Reaver fire, so these Scarabs are getting huge value.
But so are the Scarabs on the other side. One of the Reavers actually does go down. There's 2 Reavers left for Dreamer. And Batorsai is struggling a little bit here. He has a lot of his Dragoons, but they were back in defense, so they're not really helping out. And these Reavers are going to be doing so much damage, Rapid.
Yeah, and even with a full energy shield battery, like how are you going to try to break through? Wait, did he just... Okay, he ran his shuttle in and lost it for no reason. But there's still nothing to stop these Reavers. And he's getting within range. Oh, no, not like that. Oh, the pro-manity, not again. Oh, the pain. Well, there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I guess this is the moment the Dreamer needed. He's up by 40 supply now. And all of a sudden, Dreamer has broken the front. The shield barrier eating a lot of the damage, but the Reaver Scarab's still doing so much damage. Every Scarab is just a breaking moment in Batorsai's heart here in game number 1.
Yeah, okay, alright. Well, we need one of those snakes on a plane moment, but with Reavers in my base. Like, we got to get these Reavers out of my base. But he can't. And even though he has enough Dragoons, some of the Dragoons aren't actually even firing. Like that one at the top, not firing. AFK Dragoon. He gets an what is that? Unceremonious discharge?
Not sure, but GG. Dreamer takes down Batorsai in game number 1.
This is gonna really bother me. Dishonorable discharge. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what it is. Yeah, so sick. I really like that play by Dreamer. He threw down a Nexus, which is really difficult to make work in PvP. But the travel distance is pretty long. He held on against the a flood of Dragoons across the map against the 2-gate and made it work, surprisingly. So even though the Reaver control is not like 100%, hey, he did it. That's all that counts.
Yeah, now it looks like we are going to be heading into game number 2 here when we get back after this. Won't be too long, guys. Just loading up the next replay and we'll get started. Okay guys, and welcome back to the STPL. We're here watching NaS versus aSh, where aSh have actually taken a 1-0 lead in game number 1 against NaS.
That's right. We finished game number 1. It was our mirror matchup, so you can kind of get that out of the way well until our TVT happens. But we're going to be a little bit more diverse, and depending on who you ask, this is going to be our key matchup of the day.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it is. Let's have a look at who our players are going to be. It's going to be starting us off here for NaS, a person who hasn't played in the STPL very much. His only game in the STPL was nearly a year ago in round 1 against Ultra for Seoul. He didn't actually win that game, so he does have a 100% win ratio against not only his opponents, but also his opponent's race here. You may know him more recently if you go on the Foreign Brood War Discord as the person who's probably caused more arguments than anybody else by making a tier list of players.
How dare he? Kix,
Yeah.
You know how controversial any opinion is? We've got soft versus chunky opinionists. You know, we've got I don't know what other like random stupid opinions can people get upset about, but I think you take it to a new level when you try to put names to your opinions.
Yeah.
And this has happened in other esports as well, not just tier lists of players, but tier lists of people as people.
Yeah.
And I think that the inherent flaw of all tier lists is that it's an opinionated snapshot of time, and especially when you do it without justification. When you just put people in buckets, like I mean, we can rewind to different points in America's history where we've definitely done this as well as other countries and regions, and but with Brood War, perhaps the most opinionated people on the planet, it's certainly going to be a good time.
Yeah, now let's hope that when they do discuss the tier list, they do not hit somebody, because this guy, his opponent, is going to be aSh Hit 'em Up, and if someone is going to take a game here off of Seriosity, I think it could be him, one of the strongest Terrans on aSh. He's actually beat Future and Drew in round 3. He did lose to Noob in round 2, so I may have lost to him in it was round 2. So once again, he's actually had a loss, but when you look at his overall win rate, he's actually got 80% win rate off of 5 games, so he's doing really well for his team. And I think he's a good person here to take a game here for aSh.
I agree, but I mean, look at the stats here, Kix. We've got 4 wins, so yeah, more total wins, but less win ratio.
Yep.
What I'm talking about is my boy Seriosity is not lost yet, so...
Yeah, so what we're saying is Seriosity's like tier 6 and Hit 'em Up's tier 7. Well, let's see if he can increase his tier here in map number 2. It's going to be Neo Chain Reaction. Okay, so here we are on Neo Chain Reaction. It's going to be the first time that this map has actually been played in the STPL Round 4. It was used in the final Pro League of Brood War history, the 2011 to 2012 SK Planet Pro League Season 1. I believe that was actually the only season of that specific Pro League, but then it came back to StarCraft 2 again. But it's a really cool 2-player map. It's a map that you don't often see, just because it was kind of one of the modern era maps that kind of got forgotten when Brood War came back. So it's cool to see a new map here. It's not a completely new map for STPL, but it's a new map for STPL today, which is good. Okay, just to quickly go through how this map works. The natural is up this small ramp, so it is kind of, it takes that modern style of having a low ground main. There's a lot of airspace around the edge here. There's, like you could have seen in the intro video, there's a lot of sort of random buildings that actually block you off from other expansions. They also block your enemy off from pushing in. There's a droppable natural though, so that's something. Didn't really often get to see played, mainly because there just wasn't that many games on this map overall. So let's see how this works out together as we get into game number 2 here in STPL round 4. Okay, starting us off here in the right hand side of your screen, we do have the blue Terran fight, oh sorry, we have the yellow Protoss fighting for NaS. It's Seriosity.
That's right, and his opponent in the, I guess, other side of the map in the blue is aSh's Hit 'em Up, playing Terran.
I really like Hit 'em Up's name, and I really want to ask him, how the heck did you come up with that?
He just really loved playing Streets of Rage when he was a kid.
But that's a beat 'em up, so that's what I'm
Close
confused
enough.
about. Wait, hold on. Is he BBSing? There's 2 SCVs going out on the map rapid. He's also
I think they're scouting, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
they're definitely scouting on this 2-player map. Both of them.
Hey, dude, he's gonna figure out, he's gonna scout the best location to build his 2 barracks. Hit 'em Up, of course. The most famous song by our late friend and mentor, Tupac. So perhaps his inspiration there.
That is very possible. Now he is saving up for his 2nd barracks here. This is gonna be a BBS. Now, we've had some quick games in the STPL. I know there's the whole 6-minute meme where things don't often go past 6 minutes. If this BBS works, I don't think we're gonna even get to 6 minutes, because this could be a very, very quick game. It's gonna be gateway first into a simulator. Are we going to see a Zealot, or is he going to go straight into a Dragoon? If he goes straight into a Dragoon, he's going to be in a lot of trouble here.
Yes, he will be in quite a bit. Well, I mean, he's already in a little bit of trouble, but you're right. He will transition from being in a little bit of trouble to a lot of trouble. So in this regard, we can consider Hit 'em Up to be like Tupac, like his name, and Seriosity could be Biggie. Because of course, if you're uninitiated in the ways of North American rap culture, Hit 'em Up is widely considered to be one of the greatest diss tracks of all time.
Nice.
Where it's an adventure down into the dark underbelly of the relationship of 2 of rap's early godfathers in North America. So definitely go check that out.
Okay.
And check out what's about to happen to our Protoss Lord and Savior over here, who's about to have a rude awakening.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is quite dangerous. I mean, Serio did pull some probes. He actually sent all of them back a bit, so he's not going to be able to defend on the top of his ramp. The Zealot has come out here, so this is going to come down entirely to micro. But as many people would like you to believe, SCVs are Gundams, so they will not die to this. And look at the amount of damage being done already.
Seriosity saw more attacking units and more workers, and he ran into it. Like, you have to keep it out of your base, but, like, I mean, now that just makes it so much harder to fight. He just has so few workers, and he's going to lose even more of them. He's continuing to mine gas for whatever reason, while he's only building Zealots, and most likely only ever will build Zealots. GG, Seriosity taps out. The 3-minute curse.
I don't know if that counts as a curse. I mean, there's no way we could have seen that coming. That was certainly a very quick game. Now, I've said this before, and I need to actually find this out at some point, but that could very possibly be one of the quickest games we have ever had, and hopefully our next couple of games will be a little bit better. I'm going to load up the next replay. I won't go to any form of break this time, just because that was so unbelievably quick, and should be able to get everything done while we're here. But we're going to be heading into a TBZ next, which is going to be between Eon Zerg and Jax, if I remember correctly. Let me just actually double check.
Yes.
It's
You are
sorry,
correct.
it's a ZVP. Jax is Protoss.
Oh,
So
yeah.
some might say it was a
Okay.
kicks game. Lucky noob, you're so good. Your pun game is on point. It's almost up there with the Rapids, almost.
Almost.
No one can beat the pun and emoji god from Twitter in the form of Rapid, man. You're too good at this stuff.
Years of practice.
Okay, our next map is going to be La Mancha, so if we are going to see a little bit of a longer game, I reckon it will be on here. But we're loading up the next replay already. I'll quickly announce, or add the win there for Hit 'em Up. That's actually going to take aSh up 2-0 against NaS, which is something a lot of people would say that would never happen, but you know what, it has. aSh has come back for round 4. They got a little bit of a stronger roster. They've had a little bit of a quick set of games here. But could we be going for a quick 3-0 victory for aSh? It's going to be a little bit difficult with these next two players.
Yeah, I would say that if you're already down and then you have to go into a match where Eon Zerg's playing, like, maybe yeah, maybe your quest for victory is going to be a little bit difficult there. Always a pleasure to watch guys like Eon Zerg play. I think he's definitely one of the biggest names in the Foreign Brood War community. And Jax, you know, he has done well for his team, but individual performance does not guarantee you a win over one of the best players out there right now.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit difficult. We're going to be going into our third map of this series. It's going to be La Mancha. Let's quickly have a look at the intro just as I quickly add it to my overlay. There we go. See you guys in just a sec. Okay, so here we are on La Mancha, one of the more standard maps in the pool, and definitely one of my favorite maps overall in Brood Wars history, I think. It was initially used in the Shinhan Bank Winners League of 2011, and it got a lot of traction. It's been used in a lot of tournaments in Korea since then, and it's just overall a really good map.
Yeah, La Mancha was one of the maps that was debuted at the launch of StarCraft, or at the reveal for StarCraft Remastered at the iHeart StarCraft event down here. And it was this map will forever be to me a real testament to kind of the previous, the early parts of this current era of Brood War. Because this map for me, we had Flash come out and play on it, and in front of a packed out crowd who had just seen the StarCraft Remastered launch video for the very, very first time. I'll never forget that feeling. We had Mike Morheim up on stage, the Koreans cheering their heads off for the revitalization of what was just you know, the most iconic game that their country has ever known. And this map shows up on the screen. I'm just like, oh my goodness, so many feels.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as this matchup goes, I would say that it's not quite like those Heartbreak Ridges that you have, although they are a central fixture. You can take the side path, which is a little bit more direct, but you can't funnel your units across the bridge as easily as you can, you know, put them through the middle.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this case, it's going to be quicker for Jax to move up over the sort of over the middle spokes. Now it does give you a little bit of high ground to sort of take a better engagement outside of the Zerg's sort of potential third base. Obviously Eon Zerg has the chance of going for one of the other mains anyway, but it's definitely a really dynamic map. Now, the problem that me and Sail always used to come into was when you think about games that Eon Zerg is about to play, you're talking about sort of mid to late game, but a lot of the time Eon Zerg just wants to get over and done with. Like, if he thinks he's better than a player, he will literally just all in you, because he's like, well, you can't beat me, so why am I going to waste my time playing against you? Which is why, if we're going to have a quick game in this series, I know the last one was quick, and I said that that was actually going to be the longest one. I think this has the highest probability of being it. Eon Zerg against Protoss never usually ends well if the Protoss doesn't walk correctly, or maybe doesn't have a unit in the right place at the right time. Hopefully, it's not going to be like that, but let's actually have a look as we get into game number 3 with aSh 2-0 in the lead against NaS. It's Eon Zerg versus Jax. Now starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the orange Zerg fighting for NaS. It's Eon Zerg.
And his opponent in the bottom right-hand corner in the purple, playing for aSh, is our Protoss player, Jax. Oh, you beat me to it.
Yeah. I saw it was happening and I was like, I'll wait until he's introduced the players, then I'll quickly do it. Hopefully my microphone sounds okay, by the way.
Yeah, sounds fine.
It's not so much for you because I think you've never had a problem hearing me, but if anyone in chat notices my microphone dropping out at any point, please let me know, because one of my casts the other day, I think I may have fixed it on Friday, but someone was like, oh, your microphone is like every like 10 or 12 words or something, it was just dropping. So I messed with the settings a ton, and hopefully it's a lot better now.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Nothing to worry about, Kix.
Yeah.
You're perfect just the way you are.
Aww. Valentine's Day was 2 weeks ago, Rapid, but I'll take it.
It was. Okay, thank you for not rejecting my comment.
Okay, well, I mean, one thing to note, Eon's going for an overpull straight away, so not 9 full speed or anything too crazy. Jax is going for his pylon at the front, going for a Forge fast expand. I don't necessarily blame him for this. Going gateway first against someone like Eon Zerg is a massive risk.
Yes, you are correct. I don't think that... I don't know, man. I mean, I'm consistently amazed. We get a game like that BBS and it just crushes, and just like, why don't we see more of those? But the idea is that, yes, it is actually a very big risk. And so, barring some, 9/9 gates coming down retroactively, this is actually going to be a Forge Fast expand from hold on, sorry, there's a sound clip playing in the background randomly because I left the window open and then a stream hosted another stream. So watching too much IAM, which is just now finishing. So thank goodness. All right. So all I was trying to say, Kix, is that with early Nexus coming down, I thought we were gonna see like one of these super eco openings, but it's actually not the greedy Nexus. It's the safe one where you build Forge first, Cannon first, and then the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite the same level of safe as what we saw last week, where we saw the 2 cannons into Nexus.
Oh, this TT1.
But I mean, yeah, that was kind of crazy, but...
Or was it DeWalt? I think it was DeWalt,
It was
right?
DeWalt, I think, and it was on New Bloody Ridge, so playing super, super defensively. Obviously, it's not as much of a big deal to play a little bit... I mean, it's not necessarily greedy, but a little bit more careful. You have to kind of do that on a 2-player map, but on a 4-player map like La Mantra, especially when you've scouted in cross positions, you've had a perfect scout with your probe the whole time as well. I mean, there's not really too much that Jax needs to be worried about. No speed for the time being, no... Well, he hasn't seen the third hatchery, but third hatchery coming along at the 12 o'clock position. That'll give Eon a little bit more access to some more bases, and just think it's been pretty okay for him.
Yep. I mean, in reality, things are looking pretty okay for both players.
Yeah.
I think most recently we saw was it Effort? Yeah, go 3 hatch before Pool in the game 3 of ASL series versus Mind. And I was just like, wow. I mean, I guess that's one of the real weaknesses of 111 is that the players can 3 hatch against you.
Yeah.
And then stabilize on the other side. I'm just like, wow, I guess you can do that. And while this wasn't quite that quick a trip to the 3 hatcheries, we do have a Hydra Den on the way, Kicks.
Oh boy, good old-fashioned Hydra bust. Doesn't matter what map you're on, Hydras will bust down your wall eventually if you're not prepared. Now, we've seen a lot of one cannon Protosses go down to Hydralisks, so hopefully Jax is going to sniff this out. Eonzerg did a fantastic job with his Lings to actually push away the first probe, so Jax is kind of in the dark. He doesn't really know what to expect. Now, is this going to force him to play a little bit more defensively? Is he just going to build the cannons? Or is he going to try and wait for a Corsair? Because if he waits for a Corsair, it could be a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, it could be too late. I think it actually might be too late here. I don't know. This is going to be a challenge. You lose your probe that early, or you can't scout that early. You're just going to be in for a world of hurt here. And thankfully, there are these zealots moving out across the map, but this isn't like the 5 zealots or the 8 or 12 zealots. This is just 2. And so you're not going to have a lot of aggressive potential, but you are going to have the potential to scout. And I think that's the most important thing, is these Hydras start to pop out. Speed just now finishing.
Yeah, we've got the Lings moving out in...
Oh, block the probe, block the probe. Oh, sickest blocking picks it off. Damn, Eonzerg.
Eonzerg is way too good. Now, we are going to see Jax's Zealots coming into this third base. They are going to see just 3 drones. They're going to see the Hydras likely popping out the eggs as well. So this is going to be a big tell. Now, what has Jax done at home as he started going for this? Now, I don't think he saw... Yeah, okay, I'm messing up this, but
this is a lot of Ling splitting here. He lost maybe 3-4 more Lings than he needed to. The idea is he didn't lose any drones up there, so that's sick. But the real problem are these speed Hydras just coming across the map.
Yeah, and there's only one
Corsair
cannon.
Yeah, but there's a Dark Shrine coming down. So, or not a Dark Shrine. I've been watching too much StarCraft 2 today.
Yeah,
IEM's on, and it's been the only thing in my watch. But yeah, Templar Archives is coming down, and that means that he's going to be able to stave this off with just a single Dark Templar.
Nope.
Wait, what? Dude, just build a DT.
The trouble.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the Templar Archives isn't done, and the Hydras, they're going to break through the front of the wall. There's nothing to block them anymore. The cannons are going to go down, and as soon as they go down, you can lose all your probes. So,
yeah.
Eonzerg with a quick win to keep NaS alive in the series.
Okay, I was being a little bit optimistic there, Kicks. I was thinking to myself, like, there were only 2 Overlords there. They didn't have speed, and I saw the Corsair move across the map, but it actually didn't catch the Overlord in the middle of the map, or, well, either of the Overlords there. And if you do catch the Overlord, then the Hydras have to pull back. They have to stop the Corsair from killing the Overlord, so you don't die to DT, so maybe you can, delay a little bit like that. But none of that happened. So.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate, but it means we'll be going into Game 4 when we get back just after this. Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL round 4. We're currently watching NaS versus aSh. aSh are currently 2-1 up against NaS. They had a chance of going 3-0 there, but unfortunately aSh stopped them in their tracks and took us to game 4 here, where NaS's captain, Dragon, is going to face off against aSh's captain in Dentag. So just have a quick look at how Dragon's done throughout the SCPL. He's statistically one of the highest rated players in the SCPL. He's actually won 15 of his 22 games, so he's doing pretty damn well. 68% win rate for him. He's actually 6-1 up against Protoss as well, so I mean, you can't really ask for a better record than that. And his opponent is going to be not Dreamer, it's going to be Dentag. Let me just very quickly fix that. Must have misclicked here. But
imagine the horror in Kix's eyes when he like swaps to a slide and it's not the one that he wants. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
oh goodness.
It's bad. It's not good when it happens. My eyes are just like, oh no. But yeah, I mean, we've got Dentag here. He's going to be the second player now. Unfortunately, he's not had the best win ratio. He is 1 for 9, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But he's going to be moving in to map 4 here, which should be relatively cool. Let's just quickly throw up the intro for that, and we can get started with game number 4. Okay, so here we are on Neo Medusa. We've got players in the right and the top left. Just say hello to Fuji, who just turned up in chat. He's Dazoneri. He is one of the other captains joining us here, along with Age as well. He's also in chat. I saw him before. So 4 of the captains from the SCPL here to watch this game. So it's kind of cool. Well, 2 of them are participating, I guess. But yeah, it's cool nevertheless. And the funny thing is, you said that rapid, but we're not actually in the game yet.
No,
so...
I know, Kix. I know. Thank you for rubbing it in. We'll get to that later. Chad doesn't know what we're talking about, but
yeah,
whatever.
My bad.
Anyway, the map's Neo Medusa. It's a cool map. People have won here, but more importantly, people have also lost here. And it's been all Protoss players winning, so
yeah,
there you go. That's all the help Dragon needs.
Yeah, let's get into game number 4. It's Dragon versus Dentag in this captain battle here on Neo Medusa. Okay, starting off here in the top right hand position, currently on match point for his team here. It's the one, the only, captain in yellow. It's Dentag.
Well, it is the only captain in yellow, but it's not the only captain, because on the other side of the purple is NaS's captain, Dragon. Wait, what? Yes. Okay, alright, I got it right. Whew.
We're close.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, I can't remember who I was talking to this about at BlizzCon, but I was saying, like, we were talking about how there can be literally 2 things you could possibly say, and somehow you say the wrong thing. Even though in your head, you're like, say the right thing, say the right thing, say the right thing.
Yeah,
and, as it leaves your mouth, like, it's always the wrong thing. I don't know how it happens, but you got it right, so it's all good.
Yeah, it is truly amazing. It happens to me every single time, all the time. It's, yeah, wow. Oh, anyway. This is going to be a PvZ, like we said. This is a good map for Protoss. I think that's safe to say. I know that there was some people treating this game like a foregone conclusion, Kix, and that is very disrespectful. You should always think that anything can happen in games, but there is a sense in which you have to kind of respect the history of these players, you know, put some respect on their name, you know.
One thing that I've always loved about Brutal is, even though it's a very mechanical game, every single click matters, and a lot of where your attention goes is very important as well. There are still places in the game for upsets. Now, we've seen games where it doesn't necessarily matter who the players are. You'll suddenly see 12 zealots just run across the map, and they'll suddenly kill the Zerg. Obviously, we just saw a game from Eon Zerg where you get 12 Hydras run across the map and kill the Protoss. So there are, I mean, that game I wouldn't class an upset, but there are ways for players to win, regardless of how the game goes, regardless of who their opponents are, depending on how you play on the day. That is the most important factor in a best of one in a team league. Obviously, Dentag is going to be going off of the fact that his team are already up 2-1, so he does have a little bit of kind of emotional support here going into the game. He knows that if he loses this game, it's not the end of the world, and if he wins this game, he'll be taking his team, with a win over NaS, which is just amazing. So there's obviously a lot of pressure, but there's obviously a lot of encouragement as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that, you know, none of these. I feel like in the early days of esports, people made out like players just hated each other. There's like nobody actually hates each other. Like if you are one of those players, then like, I mean, you got a long life to live, my dude. Like, you know, extra wrinkles didn't help anybody. So just you know, get some love in your life, you know. And at the end of the day, even though these are brutal gladiators locked in the heat of immortal combat, you know, it's not actually that serious.
Yeah. I mean, there are obviously a few historical examples of people just absolutely hating everyone and everything. I'm gonna say it wrong. Idra being one of them.
Everybody
obviously
says that. He didn't actually like.
Yeah, he must have been quite chill, but he actually hated
one of the nicest
Protoss,
guys
so.
I've ever met. Every single person will tell you that. But then they're like, but he typed mean things to me in a video game. It's like, well, turns out that like the things that you do and say on the internet are not necessarily accurate depictions of your humanity. Like, anyway, all I'm trying to say is that you know, people are people too.
Yeah, now we've got a three hatchery opening coming in here for Dragon. He's opted to go for the natural behind his main base here with the mineral only, just to get that up a little bit quicker and a little bit safer. We do have the first probe on the way along with the first zealot, or sorry, this is the second probe because the first probe did go down. So this probe's here to do a little bit of extra damage. It does take one probe hit and one zealot hit, I believe, to actually take down a Zergling, so... No, two, sorry. It's 2 of 1 hit, yeah. But looks like we are going to have a little bit of micro here coming in. Dragon actually doing a really good job with this micro. Does manage to train just 2 lings for that 1 zealot, but the probe will get into the base and see what's going on.
Oh yeah, no, that's totally insane. Also, it doesn't matter that the probe's getting into the base because he's not going to see anything. Like, he sees the lair, so he knows it's not Hydras, which I guess is the only thing you need to see. Seeing that the Spire is not going to be, like, ultra confusing. But it is going to, you know, sort of keep these lings busy and prevent them from running across the other side. There's a cannon, so it's like, I don't know. I mean, Dentark's just really doing a great job at this point. Yeah. But I will say that losing that Zealot to 2 lings is not great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit unfortunate. He maybe over-microed the Zealot just a little bit. Probe was just a little bit out of position. Now, the problem he may have here is this is going to be quite a few speedlings. It is just 5 of them for now, no 6. Apparently I cannot count, but they are eventually going to be able to push through this. The most important thing in this game, though, is the fact that Dentag knows he's not going to be Hydra busted. Obviously the lings can still cause you a few problems, and you do need to be extra careful. That's why he's going to send this extra probe there, to do that little bit of extra damage to any probes, that, well, any Zerglings to try and push in. But he's got a good sense of what's going on, and his Corsair is even going to get this Overlord here.
Yeah, I mean, that's always nice bonus. However, I would say that sometimes I see Protoss players delay to take out that free Overlord. They miss the key, crucial truth, excuse me, of the Hydra bust or something that's happening. Yeah. Is this going to be a 5-hatch play? It's a little bit weird because you're putting 2 of your hatcheries over at your natural with the Hydra Den. Yeah. But uncharacteristically, the Corsairs are actually going to get some bonus Overlords here, and that starts to really hurt Kicks.
Yeah, I mean, there is Scourge here, so Dentog does need to be careful. Oh, gonna lose both of the Corsairs. That's a massive mistake here. And all of a sudden, Dentog, the count he's been building up, has been reset. Now, he knows there's no Muteless on the other side at the moment, but this gives Dragon the option of going for Muteless here.
Yeah, man, if you got refunded larva instead of it killing the larva, which is a huge disadvantage as a Zerg player, to not be able to redo your tech, then absolutely you see a Muta switch here and you just run across the map and dominate. But
yeah,
losing those Corsairs, the worst part about it is that you don't know what's coming. I think you can sort of divine that there is 5-hatch Hydra on the other way after what you scouted, but you don't necessarily know.
Yeah, no, a huge thank you to Vincent for the host. Welcome to all those viewers from BWCL. You're actually tuning into another team link here in the STPL if you've not seen it before. We are going to be watching, well, we're in game 4 of NaS versus aSh, so, oh no. Dentog's actually left his front door open.
Uh-oh. That could be dangerous.
There's only one cannon as well, so this could be dangerous. I mean, it looks like we are going to have the probes being pulled here to help out, but the Lings are actually going to get in, at least a couple of them, and it's not tight at the top either.
I already lost one probe. This is just going to be so annoying to deal with. I mean, 7 Zealots is 7 Zealots, but you're attacking into a build that you know will be prepared for you. Because of the way that the third base is situated, the only place the Protoss can attack is either through those temples, which is not going to happen, or straight into the natural. And so I feel like Dentog really played into Dragon's hand by letting these Lings get in and pushing into a perfect defense.
There is a DT here, though. Yeah, and there's no Overlord, so this could be a massive, massive thing here. The Hydra is going to jump on top of the first cannon, but they're going to slowly but surely go down. It's just going to take this DT a very long time. There is some High Templar here. They don't have Storm Energy just yet, and you can see Dragon is jumping straight in. He wants to kill the High Templar before Storm is done, but Dentog gets the pullback.
Yeah, that was maybe a little bit greedy here. Now, finally, an Overlord will come in, but these Corsairs have been built up, and they swoop in at the last second kicks to kill the Overlord.
Oh, but they also swoop in at the last second to die as well. One of the Corsairs does go down. But Dentog has held on for now. He's got 2 High Templar worth of Storm. And yes, he lost his Forge here, but he had +1 already. And he's got additional cannons in the back, so...
Why is he not moving the DT? Oh, I guess the Overlords are coming in, but... Yeah, it sucks that he lost the Corsairs. He also could be out here with the DT dealing more damage. This is a metric ton. It's a ton with an E on the end of Hydras, and I think we do only have 1 more Storm, if I'm correct. Yeah, and it's on a Templar with 5 HP, so... Good luck with this. This is gonna have to be the Storm that'll pierce the heavens here, Kicks.
Oh, that's a really good Storm. That second storm was good as well.
Yeah, it's not the perfect one, but the idea is that it's really going to soften up a bunch of these Hydras. The problem is, what do? He can't build more cannons because his Forge wasn't done, and he's still actually not rebuilding cannons, which is a little bit surprising, I gotta say.
These 2 Forges are actually powered off of just that one pylon, so...
Oh my
one
goodness,
of the Corsairs going down as well. There's actually... Wait, there's a Scout here. Oh my god.
Why is there Scout, Kicks?
Because Scouts are good units, man. That's why.
Not when you have no money.
They're quick at killing Overlords, so maybe he's gonna go for like some really sick Overlord snipes, or he could spend the Whoa, they're actually...
Oh my goodness! Yeah, he could just run right in here and kill a bunch of Overlords. I mean, the Corsairs have 0 HP, so like that's not gonna work. He's actually just gonna straight up die to these Hydras whenever they choose to attack. They could go now. They could go now. He die no matter what. Because like, what are you gonna do here? Actually, this is kind of a mistake by Dragon because he's letting these High Templar build up a ton of Storm energy. So whereas before, if he went, he'd only have to go up against 1 Storm. Now he has to go up against 3.
Yeah, now the Scout actually shot for a long time and didn't kill a single drone because the one drone moved out of its range. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but Dentog has a supply advantage here over Dragon at the moment still. Dragon going into his 4th base here, going for the Extractor as soon as possible. But this is the move that Dragon wants to make. He's going to set up a Lurker Contain here and make it very difficult for Dentog to be able to go out, but that's a nice Storm.
Ooh, money! Yeah,
he even gets one of the eggs.
Good. Yeah, that's a little bit of extra bonus there. He's going to try to poke out and fish for some extra Storms. it's going to be kind of an effort to kill off some of these overlords. The scout comes back, he's totally useless and dies. So that's hundreds and hundreds of minerals and gas you'll never get back.
Yeah, and the
man, if
Corsair
Dentark
goes
had
down
just,
again.
yeah, if he had just put some extra effort into saving those Corsairs, man, he'd just be in such a better spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Actually,
still in a decent position, but it's just...
There's only 2 overlords here. You could actually go... Okay, they have speed. Never mind. It's not that big a deal to get more overlords out here. Storm dodging, though, is actually fantastic.
Yeah, and the Storm Dodge actually pushed him closer to the Corsair as well, so that Corsair goes down. I mean, 2-1 upgrades are coming in here for Dentark. The longer this goes on, the better the upgrades get, the better position Dentark's going to be in. And he does have the option of taking this third base behind his main. Obviously, Dragon is starting to get a little bit out of control. You can just see the pure number of Hydraslings heading across the map here. He should be heading into Hive relatively soon after this, but he's just kind of content to sit back here, get his upgrades that he can off of the Evo Chamber he's got, and just kind of look to contain for as long as possible.
Well, it's going to be lasting for quite a while. Look at this spread on these lurkers. Like, almost no 2 lurkers are within 1 storm range.
That's really good.
How you want to spread it. He's got a bunch of overlords here. He's got the Hydras to back him up. He's getting a 4th base, which is totally up and running. Maybe time to expand to even a 5th, although I guess you don't want to get too greedy. Even at this point, with this
there's a storm drop coming in. That could do a lot of damage at this 4th base, but there's only 1 High Templar here, so he's not
well, why
putting...
would you... Okay.
I think he's probably got 2 storms on it. It's more that he doesn't want to risk not having enough at his front because he knows how many units there are. But here we go, the storm drop coming in. There's not much here to defend these drones. There's actually enough for only 1 storm, but he does actually manage to get 4 kills with that, so that's a pretty good move. But this shuttle is going to be forced to pull back.
Yeah, that's pretty money. I mean, good job for what it's worth. He's also going to try to bust out just a little bit. I don't think that's very well advised. Decent storms here, but at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, there's no way you break out of here.
Yeah, he needs a lot more units. He can't afford to throw his units away here. And his unit's getting a little bit too far forward, taking a lot of damage. But the storms, very, very strong here. And oh, that's a little bit of a misclick there. But...
Oh no, he selected all of his High Templar, and he hit 1 storm, and it cast all the storms. So instantly, he lost like 3 storms he didn't need to use, or maybe 2 storms he didn't need to use. He was forced to morph the Archons, but he morphed the Archons instantly within range of those Hydras, and lost all of them as well. So we just witnessed a total travesty. That was the wheels falling off the bus. The wheels aren't going round and round anymore, Kicks.
Yeah, now you can tell where the pressure kind of got to Dentark here. You can see his money start to spiral up a lot. He got supply blocked a little bit there, and just imagine if all that money was in units at that point in time, he might have had enough to break. Now, the trouble is he's kind of been reset here. He lost his Templar. He went a little bit before 2-1. Oh, he just got 2-1, so 3-2 is on the way now. But he definitely does need more units, and this is going to be a kind of dance here that Dragon is definitely going to get the better of, at least for the time being.
I think it'll be for the rest of the game, honestly, at this point, Kicks. Like, what are you going to do? Thankfully, because there is this 3rd base, it's the only possible way Dentark would not be totally dead at this point, because he can actually expand. Now, there's no gas, so, you know, how much is that really going to help? You're not going to be able to fund more High Templar off of that base. But, I mean, everything does cost minerals, right? So it's going to keep him alive. The problem is, like, I mean, how do you stop just this purple flood across the map?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to watch about Zerg, like in the kind of late stages of the game, where you just suddenly see these floods and floods of units coming from all the hatcheries. Now, bringing back to something you said a little bit earlier, like Dragon doesn't really have any of his lurkers in a place where 2 of them could be stormed at once, and a lot of that harks down to the fact he actually plays Protoss as a main race, but he just kind of, he race picks CVP, and it's really obvious when you watch this going on, because he takes the knowledge he has from winning versus Zerg, and he's like, well, what do I normally like win against? And it's like, well, I guess they just clump all their lurkers and I die, or they die because I just push through immediately. And that's what he's avoiding, and that's the hallmark of a good race picker.
I think the other thing is that if this contain goes on long enough and he can't bust the front, you'll actually just see him Doom drop the third here. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be a bit surprised to see that.
Especially
Super
when
vulnerable.
Defilers come in. When you start to see Swarm, it starts to get really, really difficult for these kind of higher Dragoon amount armies, but another Observer getting sniped here by Dragon, just making it so difficult for Dentag to really get out of his base.
Yeah, and it should be a testament that these are Observers getting sniped. One big way to break out against the Hydra Lurker contain is to Reavers. But he hasn't really been able to go Reavers at all because he's been too desperately trying to like hang on against all this stuff. Now I will say he is about to hit 3-2, and 3-2 upgrades are very good for speed lots breaking out of a Hydra Lurker contain. They're also good for Dragoons to try to deal with Lurkers at long range where their spikes don't deal as much damage. But he's actually doing a good job picking off individual Dragoons. So I don't know what we're about to watch here, Kix, but I think this is going to be do or die. If Dentar can bust out, then obviously that's great.
Dentag's going to try and hide a base. He's actually lifting up a probe and a shuttle, going to send it to the south. Now, I just zoomed out a little bit just to see the scale of Dragon's army, and that's not everything. There's a lot of Adrenalings coming in from the top. This is going to be it's kind of a breakout that you don't often see very often. Now, is it going to work? It looks like, once again, Dragon has just got way too many units, and Dentag just can't get the forces he needs to make this breakout work.
Yeah, he's... I mean, that's about the most that you could hope for, but there's Storm behind this, or a Swarm behind this, and so it's like, well, you know, that was nice. He's also remaxing on Dragoons, which don't deal damage under Dark Swarm. So
yeah,
there it is.
There's the Dark
Swarm. That should do it.
The shuttle's actually been spotted down in the bottom left. Now he does need a lot of Storm and a lot of Archons to deal with these Lings under Swarm, and there's just way too much Protoss. I mean, that's going to be a great Storm, going to get a lot of kills, but when there's this much Swarm, when there's this much Zerg, there's not much you can do. GG, well played, and Dragon takes us into the ace match.
Yeah, it is exactly like chat said it would be. I would say the turning point for me that game is when you had that accidental misclick on the dumb cast.
Yeah.
Not so the opposite of smart casting. So what happened is like you not only lose all your storm energy then, but the real value of High Templar is that they stay alive and they get more storm energy over time. So the longer the contain lasts, Dentarg would have been able to keep storming and keep storming and keep storming, and that cascades. So the mistake multiplies because not only did he lose his storm energy, then he lost the High Templar morphing to Archons, and it just kind of cascaded from there. Not to ignore the fact that he was in a very bad spot at that point in a strong contain, but in the end, Dragon takes us to the ace match.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be seeing another PvZ. Now, just to answer PG Tour, Dragon race picks Zerg versus Protoss. He doesn't like PvP, so he does race pick ZVP. And you know what? His ZVP is really fun to watch, so I'm kind of glad about it. But when we get back, after this very short break, while we load up the next replay, we'll be here with game number 5, the ace match. It's going to be a PvZ on, well, it's going to be on Holy World SE. Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL. We're here in the ace match of our first match today of aSh versus NaS. We actually saw Dragon take out Dentag in the Battle of the Captains to bring us here to the ace match, and he's going to be here once again representing his team in yet another ZVP as he faces off against Dreamer, who actually won his game for aSh previously. On the other side of things. So we saw Dreamer do a PvP today. We've not seen his PvZ, but let's actually quickly introduce our final map of this series before we get into our next series straight after. So see you guys in just a sec. Okay, so here we are on Holy World SE. We're actually going to have our players in sort of a horizontal position here. Now, I'm really sorry, Lucky Noob. I loved your English there and invest in Terrans. I must admit, I very often decided to invest in Terrans myself because Terrans, the best race. But hopefully, we're going to get some infested Terrans here. There is a neutral command center in the middle of the map, but we did see Cadency take over in a PvZ last week on this map, or a ZVP last week on this map. But I'm sorry, I just read what Lucky Noob said. Okay, well, alright, well, one of the things we'll say about our Protoss player here is obviously you've got the natural, you can wall it off as well. There's also these two bases behind the back as well. So in the top right, you have a mineral only, and you also have this gas base which isn't free because the minerals are completely exposed from this location. Now we saw PRL take this base against his Zerg opponent when he was going mass scouts by just building a load of cannons in the mineral line. So not sure if we're going to get that far, but hopefully we're going to have a good game here. ZVP so far in the STPL on this map has been pretty even, 3 for 2 in favor of Zerg. So let's see if Dragon can make that a little bit better in terms of the Zerg win ratio, or are we going to see Dreamer have an upset here against the best player in Canada in Dragon? Let's find out as we get into our ace match here on Holy World SE. Okay, starting us off here in the top right hand position, we do have the purple Protoss. Good alliteration there. In for aSh, it's Dreamer. That's next level. Yeah, only I can save you. What do I need to do? Oh, only chat. You gotta help Rapid, guys. You gotta share your energy with him, otherwise he can't get out of chat, he's stuck. I feel really bad because nobody typed it. Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay, I'm saved. Oh! Man, that was dangerous. I almost got left behind, but thanks to Twitch chat saving me, I made it out again. How could I ever have doubted you, Twitch chat? I knew you'd have my back.
It was close, but we got overfull here from Dragon. Dreamer going once again for a Forge Fast Expand, so everything looking quite normal. Hopefully your time stuck in cyberspace wasn't too bad. I'm guessing maybe you got imprisoned in the neutral command center in the middle of the map, but thank you, Aces Mullet, for the host. I don't know what NaN is, but hello NaN viewers, welcome to the stream.
Sick. Yeah, it definitely would have sucked to be imprisoned in that neutral command center. Because then, for the only time in my entire life, I'd be hoping that it didn't get infested. Although I have had my house infested with. Let's see, what have I had my house infested with? I had the ventilation in Korean houses is really bad, so a lot of times there's black mold. So I had a black mold infestation that sucked. And then back when I used to live in America, I had a bed bug infestation, and just. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It's like by far the most painful, stupid thing to ever have to go through. So, yeah. So I've dealt with my infestations before. I'm not doing it again, Kix.
Yeah, I've also been through a couple. Had ants in my kitchen. Had black mold over like most of my walls at one point. So I mean, both of us. We've had some infestations, but even so, we want to see the neutral command center infested. But
oh yeah,
Dragon going for that quick third hatchery at the third base. Once again, this time it's going to be another natural. It's going to be the furthest point on the map away from his opponent. Logistically, obviously there are further bases if you count the back bases, but fairly normal stuff from him. And we've got the gateway coming in behind the Nexus. 2 cannons this time from Dreamer, playing a little bit safer than we normally see, which is good if we want to go to a longer game.
So what are we doing here? I guess step number 1 is get rid of the pesky probe. Gotta get rid of that guy. And then because of the way Holy World is set up, you're not really going to want to take these, like the back base. You can kind of save that one for later. That's the gum that you put on the bedpost overnight. And then you also don't want to take the vulnerable base right there that the probe was scouting out. So you're going to take the nearest one, and that's going to be this next natural down in the bottom.
Yeah, now I know Dragon definitely does know about the back bases. I know we had a game the other day where someone... I can't remember who it was, but they were like, oh, I just didn't actually know about the back bases. So that's not going to be the case here. I know Dragon actually does know all the maps. I don't know if he's necessarily played them all, but he definitely knows about them. And there's easily accessible images of the map on TL in the thread. So people have got no excuse for not knowing them. I made sure that people look at them, but hopefully we're going to see a little bit of a closer game here. I definitely think, at least statistically, Dreamer has a higher shot of taking down Dragon, not to rule out Dentag. He did play a good game up until a point, but you could definitely see where that kind of lack of experience in PvZ really sort of caught up with Dentag there, because he had a really good position, and then it was just that misclick kind of messed him up, and his macro slipped because of that, and that's how we kind of ended up in this ace match.
Yeah, and I would say that I guess you actually kind of preemptively called this with your mistaken overlays Kix. The Dragon versus Dreamer inevitable matchup.
That was all pre-planned.
I think yeah, these are probably the best 2 players you could have kind of facing off against each other. Although I'm always surprised when Eon Zerg doesn't come out for the ace match. I think he's actually, like, I would rather have, you know, the guy who is one of the best Zerg players in the world play instead of the guy that off-races Zerg versus Protoss, you know what I mean?
I guess it's more that maybe Eon Zerg, like, maybe they feel confident. A lot of it does come down to confidence and who you think is going to win. I think if this match was this week, we'd definitely see Radley here for aSh, because Radley did sort of defect from NetWars after Julia joined them. So it's definitely a case of there are it's good for aSh that Radley's joined them as well, because it gives them more options. Knowing that Dreamer is most likely going to be the ace player they send out every time. Kind of makes it a little bit predictable, and then you'll see people kind of sniping Dreamer. But with Radley there, it makes it a little bit harder. Obviously, we're going to see Dreamer. Oh my god, one of the Corsairs goes down to the first 2 Scourge, and that is massive. But is Dreamer going to lose the second one, or is he going to be able to save this? This was one of the first turning points in that game with Dentark previously, but it looks like he should be okay to save this.
Yeah, is he gonna lose a Scourge? Oh wait, what? Oh no, he just had the. Oh, he tried to. He actually did get the second Corsair to hit, but it only took shields off. So it's like, well, you know, not that big a deal. But yeah, losing the first Corsair is actually terrible because that means that it kind of sets you up for being vulnerable to a Muta switch, and you know, not all Protoss are going for this +1 air weapons.
This is +1 air armor, but yeah. Oh, sorry. Zerg
no,
is
this
going
is
for +1 air.
flyer carapace
yeah,
with mutas.
my bad.
This is exactly what I was talking about. What you do is you take down the first Corsair, and because your opponent has to get Templars out to defend against Hydras, they can't keep making Corsairs. So you know that they have to stop making Corsairs, and you can keep making Mutas as your main attacking unit because Mutas are so good.
Yep.
So all of a sudden it's like, well, it's a rough spot to be in. Okay, move your Zerglings. Don't let this DT kill every Zergling. Alright, never mind.
Yeah, it's really hard because if you don't know, guys, DTs, if they one-shot a unit, do not give you an alert that things are dying. That's why in sort of PvZ, you'll see sometimes a DT will get into a base and kill every single drone before the Zerg player can realize, and that's why DTs are such a game-changing unit here. But there is an Overlord here for Dragon. He's got an Overlord over 2 sunken colonies, so this DT should go down, and you can see immediately Dreamer pulls that back. He does not want to lose this. The hero of the Muteless, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Muta's so scary just all the time. Now, I would say that they're not as scary if they get stormed a couple of times. So with Storm just now finishing up, obviously that's going to be sort of the great equalizer. And, I mean, it feels bad to make an Archon, but Archon's dumpster Mutas. So a lot of times you can maybe just make one. But if you're going for Storm, then yeah, you're gonna feel too bad about making that one. So the Flyer Carapace though is about to finish, and once that finishes, you don't have to afraid of anything, like especially Corsairs. Oh, he drives right through the Storm, runs into the second Storm, runs back into that Storm.
My God,
here comes the
Scourge. That Corsair definitely gonna go down.
He blew up all the Corsairs on one Scourge and lost the Mutas to a cannon. So I don't know what we just witnessed there, Kicks, but it wasn't good.
How on earth did all those Muteless die? Like, I saw they ran into a little bit of a storm, but I didn't think it did that much damage.
They ran into 2 storms and then ran back into the second one, I believe.
Oh, wow.
My hitboxes weren't lying to me. But even if they just got nicked by 2 storms, the Mutas are not, like, Storm doesn't, like, you don't have to care about armor. Like, you're just going to take straight up damage, and he invested the gas and the research time into Flyer Carapace, like, that you only do that if you're gonna build like a bunch of Mutas, not 5. So I mean, I could be wrong here. Like, don't.
This
this
is a big counter.
Yeah.
There's not that many units from Dragon anymore. He lost all of his Mutas, and this is one of the problems with going for those Muta builds. But this is a really, really good set of SimCity. The Zealots are actually unable to get up to the sunken colonies properly. And one of these Archons is actually putting himself in a little bit of a dangerous position. A High Templar out at the front. Obviously got Storm, but there's no units from to Storm at the moment. I mean, one thing I just want to point out, just before I forget to mention this, one thing that many people don't actually know, and Lucky Noob happily explained in chat, is you can actually hallucinate a queen and infest the command center. With the hallucinated queen.
What?
That works. I've seen a video of it recently. Yeah.
I totally forgot you. Well, 2 things. Like,
no one ever
I forgot
uses hallucinate, so.
Well, I forgot that you could hallucinate enemy units. That is the first like really stupid thing about that, and by stupid I mean awesome. But the second thing is that you can use a spell of a hallucinated unit that has an actual effect. Like, you can hallucinate a High Templar and cast Storm, but it doesn't do anything, right?
No, no, no. It's because the Queen's Infest isn't a spell. It's kind of like an active ability where if it goes into a command center, it infests it. So that's why. I don't think you
Right,
can
but
use energy or anything on a hallucination.
the other thing is that makes this ultra dumb is that your opponent would have had to make a queen for you to hallucinate.
Yeah.
Which means that they're going for it, and if they're going for it, how are you going to get to it before they do? Anyway,
Yeah, it doesn't
all
matter.
it's bad. It's just all bad. Yes, we can concur there. So hey, we're trying to bust the most unbustable place on the map. This is like when Ocean's 12 or Ocean's 11 or whatever try to like bust into the bank. You just look at that and you're like, well, none of this is actually going to work. And there are about 12 or 13 units here, so it's not an inaccurate analogy. So we're going to turn this bust around, and we're going to head down to, well, almost just as unbustable a place. Dude, I think it's time to head back home, man. Like,
yeah, this is when things get a little bit hairy.
You're
He
not gonna
doesn't
make
actually
it.
have an obs over here, so he can't technically take down the units.
Lurkers.
Yeah, the lurkers even. I mean, you can use Storm, but he doesn't know where they are. Now, you can tell the difference between this game and the last game. Last game, Dragon was in complete control. His lurkers were all perfectly spread. One of those lurkers actually goes down to Dragoons without vision because it gets targeted so quickly. And the Hydra then could go down here. This is going to be massive if this goes down. This is Hydra range. He needs that.
Oh, wow. How does he not have range already? It's 13 minutes in, but... Oh, I guess he did get the flyer carapace and a bunch of mutas. But anyway, the problem is that he's not going to be able to get away from here because he's being double flanked. So this is what we call being flunk. It's the past tense of flank, of course. Yeah, so he's about to get flunked here, and I don't mean he's going to fail the test. He's just going to not have a good time.
Dreamer's actually taken one of the back bases, but it's the one furthest away from his opponent, the one furthest away from him being able to defend it. Now, does Dragon know this exists? It looks like he does. He's going to be heading around the back here. There's not really that much to defend, just a couple of cannons. But it looks like Dreamer is not done with the bust. He's just going to keep pushing forward. There's an observer here now. So this base is actually working as a little bit of a bait here because all of Dragon's units are going to go to kill this Nexus. There's not even that many probes here. And there's going to be a big bust at his front.
This is quite a big bust. There are lurkers here. Are there storms? Yeah, okay, there are the storms. Wow, these are actually pretty good storms here, Kix. But in the end, are they going to be good enough? Let's see if this bust from Dragon is going to work out on the other side. There's a lot of cannons there.
There's a lot of cannons, and if anything, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things for Dreamer. He can just expand behind him. And, I mean, this is Dragon's two of his major production centers. He needs to keep these alive, and the Dragoons are getting further and further forward. And that's another great storm.
Sniping the obs would be a nice thing to see happen, but I don't think there's any okay, yeah, he's going to run away from the Overlord, so he should be good there. Let's see how well this attempt at a backdoor goes. I mean, these, excuse me, Lings are very, very strong. Look at these crackling skill cannons, Kix.
Look at him just kill buildings. Like, Crackling's killing buildings is just something that's unbelievable to me. Like, this Nexus, when these other Cracklings get on it, just look how quickly that health bar goes down.
Oh,
like,
that's so stupid. It's just so offensive.
It's amazing. Like, I can't believe that... You know what? That's one of the amazing things about Brood War. There is just so many broken things in it that it just makes it magic to watch. Now, you can see Dreamer's trying to expand again down here. We are going to see Dragon's army, Dreamer's army, I'm seeing Dragon play Protoss, get here to defend the ramp. And this is a big chunk of army that Dragon's about to lose, but Dragon's actually up in supply over Dreamer at the moment, and that's a position you do not want to find yourself in as Zerg. Now, there's actually a lot of speed overlords here. Does he have drop? Yes, he does. There is going to be a massive drop heading into the main here, and this could be a very, very dangerous position for Dreamer to be in.
Yes, I concur. I was like, well, I don't have any other extra analysis there. I guess I never thought that we would get a chance to see a fourth base here. I kind of thought that Dragon was just going to or that Dreamer was going to run in and kind of throw himself on the sword of the base defense. But I would say that losing that base is a huge hit to Dreamer. And if you just look at the supply, Dragon's way up in supply, which is not necessarily supposed to happen in ZVP. So, I mean, It's not like he doesn't have a huge army in the middle of the map. It's just like, well, what do you do with it, right? And there's a
Yeah.
huge doom drop coming through.
This doom drop is what's going to cause him problems. He doesn't know it's coming. He nearly went in to intercept it, kind of by accident. But he's going to be pushing down here in the bottom left, but there's a lot of swarm, and that means there's going to be nothing the Dragoons can do against all of these lings. But there's a lot of zealots here. But this doom drop is going to be the problem. We saw how quickly the cannons went down. We saw how quickly the Nexus went down, and this is going to be happening to all of his buildings.
Yeah, thankfully one zealot spawns and pulls all the cracklings away from the buildings, or at least a lot of them. So the buildings are going to last a lot longer because zealots actually can fight, I guess, decently against small numbers of cracklings. But as soon as the cracklings kind of retarget, yeah, everything here is just going to die instantly. And there's not even a defiler here to, like, you know, kind of, yeah, swarm, but the cracklings are just going to kill it all. So, well, and obviously you're not going to be able to break through Darkstorm with Dragoons on the other side, so this game is just over.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of the problems he had. He had a... I'm going to ignore that comment, but GG! 3 mishaps out, and Dragon wins game number 5.
Wow, yeah, Dragon taking the big W there, giving the win over to NaS. Congratulations. I think NaS came in with a much better score, so you might have kind of predicted that, but not necessarily the way that everything transpired. So
yeah.
Awesome to go to an ace match and see things go all the way down to the wire.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things to point out, I was going to point out at the end there, was Dreamer actually had a really good shot of multiple times, but the problem he had was, at the key moments, he just didn't have his units in the right place. Like, losing that bottom right base was fine, technically, but it was when he lost it and didn't manage to take out that natural that things really swung in Dragon's favor. And I mean, that Doom drop, obviously, that was just the killing blow. There was not really anything Dreamer could do about it. His bust in the bottom left again was doing a lot of damage, but as soon as his attention got pulled over to his main, all of his units started dying, and that was just game over.
It's game over, man. It's game over. Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure is. That's the end of. You should get that audio clip and just play it at the end of the game, Kick.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Well, just a quick thing. Oh, you first.
Sorry, I forget what. If somebody in chat knows exactly where that is from or what,
Alien
or
3.
you can link it. Yeah, but like the specific clip. Somebody link that to me. I want to like embrace that moment again. But anyway, it is a fantastic moment. But let's recap all of our fantastic moments from this series, Kicks.
Yeah, so we had Dreamer take down Batosai in game number 1, hit him up, took down Seri in a very, very quick game on Neo Chain Reaction, but then the reverse sweep there by Eon, Dragon, and Dragon again took down the remaining aSh players, giving NaS their second win, I believe. No, wait, they've only actually played 1 game so far, technically. I don't know what happened in their other one. We need to cast that still. But it's going to be their first win in round 4 for now. So I guess that takes us quickly into a break, just so we can set up for the next series. It's going to be VT versus Soul when we get back after this.